The Orange and Blue take their high-flying act to the world's most famous arena. We get you set for the Oilers and the Rangers right here on the Oil Stream pregame show. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Oil Stream pregame show. Tom Gazzola, YouTube Trev with you inside the EST studios as we get you set for game number 31 of the Oilers 2023-2024 regular season. Edmonton rolling into this game. A big 6-3 win last night in Newark. They go back across the river into Manhattan, and they look to make it 2 straight wins when they take on a high-flying New York Rangers team themselves. So both teams pretty damn good. The Rangers 22-7-1. The Oilers, of course, 14-15-1. Looking to equalize things. Yes, I know they have the Bettman loser point in there, but 15-15-1 sounds much better than 14-16-1 going into Christmas. Hopefully the Oilers can give the fan base a little gift a little bit early, and then it's off to California to continue this 6-game sojourn away from home, let's call it. It's basically 2 road trips in one with Christmas sandwiched in the middle. As always, you can get in on the conversation. Hit us up at the inbox, 780-218-9999. And if you're watching on YouTube, you can also reach us via the Nasty Chat. Nasty Chat was quite content last night. So, too, was the inbox after the Oilers' big win over New Jersey. They took the lead in that game. They lost the lead in that game. Then they took the game back in the third period. 3 goals in 69 seconds. I think it's going to be a little bit tougher for them tonight at Madison Square Garden. However, you never know what can happen. I will throw out the question of the night. And I will remind you that Matt Kassian will be joining us for Game Changers at around 5 o'clock. But here is the question of the night. Please get in on the action. We are curious to know what you would give the Orange and Blue at Christmas. So, question of the night is this. If you could give the Oilers one gift, one only, I know there's many out there who are quite generous, what would you give the Oilers for Christmas? Question of the night. One more time. If you could give the Oilers one gift for this Christmas, what would it be? 780-218-9999, and then hit us up in the Nasty Chat, please. And thank you. Hello, YouTube Trav. You doing all right? A bit of a scramble to get things going, but we made it work.
Yeah, a little bit of a scramble, but as we do, as always, we crush it. So, yeah, doing really good today, Tommy. I'm not going to lie, I got into the Baileys when I got home last night, so...
Oh, yeah. Hello.
Yeah, getting into the Christmas spirit.
Were you by yourself?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Watched Polar Express.
And drank Baileys.
And Baileys on the rocks.
Oh, that's good stuff.
That's like a go-to drink of mine. It tastes like chocolate ice cream.
Why do I think you're lying to me?
No, not at all. No, not at all.
Lying little bugger.
Yeah, no. Yeah,
right,
so I'm doing good, Tommy. I'm doing really, really good. I'm excited. Should be another good game tonight. 2 very highly offensive scoring teams. Lots of talent on the ice. This Rangers team, they've always seemed to give the Oilers a run for their money.
Yes.
I expect the same tonight. As for the question of the night, is it okay if I give my answer?
Yeah, go for it, of course.
One thing, eh? Just one?
One gift.
Oh, if you could give the Oilers...
one gift.
I'd say just... more. I'd like to see more 5-on-5 scoring. Just more consistent 5-on-5 scoring throughout the whole lineup. Yeah, it's nice to see Connor's line just chugging along as we expect it to, but maybe in particular just more 5-on-5 scoring for Leon Draisaitl. He's really, you've seen it a lot. A lot of people were calling him a power play merchant last year, and it's annoying. But this year, it's kind of seemed to be that way. His even strength numbers haven't been the best. So 5-on-5 scoring, and mainly in particular to Leon Draisaitl. That's what I'd like to see.
You'd give them 5. Okay.
Just more, maybe.
More 5-on-5 scoring just to Leon?
Well, it would be nice to see.
He scored one yesterday.
He did, but that was...
ago, or 3 nights ago.
Yeah, but I think, what is it?
You want more.
Yeah, I want more. Because he can bring more.
Plus.
He can bring more. Yeah, he can bring more. Yeah. 100%. He's an unbelievable player. When he has the space on the power play, we all see it, but it would be nice to see that translate to 5-on-5 play.
Jason and Leduc via the Nasty Chat says, what a softball. Jason and Leduc, it's Christmas, man. It's a time to feel good and happy and giving. Yeah, softball question. No, in regard to my question.
Oh, okay. I was like, am
no,
I the
your
softball?
answer was great. No. Mine's a softball.
I love that question.
What would you give them? One gift.
I think that's a great question.
I know we're going to see a lot about the goaltending, so I'll deviate a little bit. I'll go player specific as well. Give Connor Brown a little bit of swagger and that confidence back. Some kind of jolt to get his season going so that he can actually be an asset and not a detriment to this team. That's the one gift I would give them. Yes, I know I'm going to read a bunch of texts that says, give him a goalie, new goalie coach. I will read those, so keep them coming in, 780-218-9999, or via the Nasty Chat if you're watching on our YouTube channel. Question of the night, we're going to read the responses all night long. If you could give the Oilers uno gift this Christmas, what would it be? I'm going to get to some text right now. This one says a new goalie coach. That's from Jimmy, and Jimmy also wants a new owner, but the owner has spent a lot of money on this team. But Jimmy, that's your answer. X-Ray J says new goalie coach. Jason and Leduc does answer the softball, and he's laughing there. Thank you, Jason. I know you're just needling. All good. Good to hear from you. Jason and Leduc says a number one goalie that steals games when the offense runs dry, a 9-10 save percentage. That would be ideal. Let's see. Another text says, give them Nick Bjugstad back. I would like that. I don't think it's realistic. And let's see what else. Kenton says, goalie for sure. Do you think Ole will end up with the big club for a few games? Kenton, we did talk about it with Joaquin Gage last night on the postgame show, and we kind of feel like it probably won't happen this year unless there's injuries, because although he's played well, he hasn't played a ton. I think last night was just his 7th or 8th game of the season, but his numbers are good. However, he's still young, and I think given where the Oilers sit right now on the outside looking in, and they're in a predicament, they probably won't call him up first over Jack Campbell. Now, whether or not they should is a whole different argument we could get into in conversation. But Gager last night basically said in regard to that thought, like, well, why would they call up Campbell? He's not playing that great in the AHL either. And you've got Olivier Rodrigue, who's putting up good numbers, having impressive starts, had another one the other night. Why wouldn't you call him up? And Gager said there is this hierarchy to the depth in the organization, and sometimes guys get caught up in that. And that was the explanation and rationale why we might not see Olivier Rodrigue this season. But it is really encouraging to have him grow, develop, take the reins in Bakersfield, kind of show that he deserves some attention, and maybe he does deserve a look up with the big club. But it is a good conversation, Kenton, that's for sure. And yeah, goalie for sure was Kenton's answer to the question of the night. If you're just joining us and didn't catch it, if you could give the Oilers one gift, just one, this Christmas, what would it be? 780-218-9999. And Nasty Chat if you're watching and just logging in. Smash that thumbs up button. We appreciate it very, very much. We will take you to 5:30 as the Oilers and the Rangers get set to close out the season series. The Oilers dropped a 3-0 decision to New York on October 26th. Jonathan Quick, very good in that game, and I'm going to discuss Jonathan Quick shortly here, and we are going to have Vince Mogliano from USA Today on the Rangers beat joining us as well. Had a chance to catch up with him earlier. We had to pre-tape it just to let everyone know because Vince was making his way to MSG, and it's a bit busy in New York City. It's a bit busy. So Vince was kind enough to give us a few minutes, and we were able to get that in just before we went to air here on the Oil Stream. One other thing I want to point out before we get to Vince Mogliano and the lineups and all of that is how incredible it is to see the 6 o'clocker loggers flying off the shelf. Absolutely phenomenal. thank you to everyone out there buying the beer, supporting local breweries, supporting local business, ourselves included. We're just a small station that a bunch of hooligans, formerly of TSN, slapped together in the summer when we were, handed that predicament. And to see the response has been so overwhelmingly amazing. Thank you. And the kicker is the beer's good. It's a good beer. I haven't really heard any complaints. I'm sure there are some beer connoisseurs out there that'll be like, well, it doesn't have this, and the hop and IBUs aren't what I generally like. And I understand that. It's just a straight-up lager, no frills, and it has a nice, smooth, creamy finish to it, I would say, as someone who's a fan of pills, kolsches, and lagers. And it's just rock solid. So all of it good. All of this makes for a nice little package, and we also have it. I think it's $1 or $2 less than other 4-packs. They locked it in at $14.99 at Sobeys and Safeway liquor stores, and I'm seeing the responses on our social media, on the EST account, my account. People are tagging me in it. Incredible. They restocked it yesterday. There's some kegs out there now. Shamrock Curling Club, shout out to Gavin Morton. He's got it on tap out there. Mr. Mike's is going to have it on tap. And then there was one other place in Fort Sask that has it on tap. Do you know off the top of your head, Trev? I can find it. But absolutely incredible. So overwhelmed and appreciative of all of that. And it's been a fun venture with Alley Cat. And I think that this 6 o'clock lager will be a permanent fixture on the Alley Cat lineup. And so let's keep it going. Damn good beer. And I think... right now you can only get it at Sobeys and Safeway liquor stores, but once it hits a certain threshold for sales, which it seems like it's going to do because the third batch of 6 o'clock lager is already in the works. This is the second one that just hit shelves yesterday and is flying off of them. Once the sales reach a certain threshold, the exclusivity to Sobeys and Safeway liquor it dissipates and it can be sold everywhere. So, but Sobeys and Safeway and Scott Laurie, they have been amazing and supporting us and Alley Cat. And just wanted to say thank you and keep it up. Spency 5 cents, he says 6 o'clock lager isn't just good, it's deadly. And in a good way. So appreciate that very, very much. All right, without further ado, let's get on with the show as we get set for the Oilers and the Rangers. Last game before the Christmas break. Programming note, we do have Hello Hockey tomorrow, 10 a.m. Myself, Sean Bell, and YouTube Trev. We will be on location. If you've got the day off and want to join us, we'll be at the Jasper Avenue local public eatery, and we'll be there right at 10 bells when it opens up, and we'll go till noon. Working with Dean Lowry from local. We did have a special. It was a 2-for-1 before noon brunch deal that we had when we were at 1260. We're going to work with Dean to see if we could do something similar. But if you want to join us and you live in or work in the downtown area, or you're just downtown tomorrow, come by, say hi, hang out with Belsy and I. I have some giveaway stuff. I've got some lanyards. Got lanyards and stickers and decals, or decals, as we say in Canada, that we're going to be giving away as well. So if you're not doing anything and you want to get a delicious brunch, maybe enjoy a beverage or two, come say hi to us at local Jasper Avenue. On location for Hello Hockey tomorrow. Question of the night, one more time. If you could give the Oilers one gift this Christmas, what would it be? Maybe it is a good shift to start a game. I don't know. Something better than that, though, I would assume. Did you have the other location where the beer's on tap, Fort Sask? I can find it.
I can look that up, yes.
I can find it, too. I think it's on our Edmonton Sports Talk Twitter account. Shamrock Curling Club, yes. Mr. Mike's Northwest, yes. And then I think Dusty might have pointed it out. But Dusty's been tweeting like a madman lately. So take a look. We'll find it, and we'll update you. But a huge thank you to some local establishments for putting the 6 o'clocker lager on tap, which is really cool to see. 780-218-9999 if you want to text us, or the nasty chat. All right, you nasty, smash that thumbs up. Let's get into starting lineups, and then we're going to get to Vince Mogliano from USA Today on the Rangers beat. For the Oilers, we won't know for sure because they didn't have a morning skate. Of course, played last night in New Jersey. If you don't know, like, the layout of the New York area, you could basically get to Long Island in like 45 minutes, and then you make home base Manhattan, and usually we would stay close to World Trade Center. And then to get to New Jersey, there is a tunnel that goes underneath the river. It's right by where the hotels are, and it's about a 15, 20-minute drive to get to Newark, where the Prudential Center is. And then they stayed the night. They went back to home base for this New York trip, which is Manhattan. And getting to MSG actually probably takes longer, even though it's probably closer in proximity to the hotel than Newark and the Prudential Center is. But the traffic there is absolutely ridiculous. If you've been, you know what I'm talking about. So they didn't have a morning skate. We will hear from Chris Noblock. He is holding an availability, I believe, right away. Yeah, right away. And Trev says he'll be on it. He did the same thing yesterday. And so we'll have that for you later on in the show. But as of right now, this is how the lines were yesterday. And I know there was a bit of shuffling. McDavid was at Nugent, Hopkins, and Hyman. That line, tremendous. Draisaitl started with Kane and Foegele, and then we saw McLeod finish on that line, replacing Kane. At the start of the game, McLeod was with Janmark and Gagne. Of course, McLeod scoring early on. Hamblin between Ernie and Ryan. We'll see what Sam Gagne's status is. Remember, he took that high stick. Derek Ryan a little bit nicked up as well. So I'm sure there might be a change or two. Will Connor Brown get back into the lineup? We will find out at warm-up a little bit later on in the evening. Expecting the defense to stay the same. Nurse with CC, Ekholm with Bouchard, Kulak with Desharnais. Holloway still on the shelf, but he is traveling with the team. Lower body issue for him. And I don't anticipate Ben Gleason getting in. Although it is the Oilers' first set of back-to-back games this season, maybe Chris Noblock wants to get a fresh body in there on the back end. I would assume if he does, it would be in place of Vinny Desharnais. Again, we'll update you when the teams hit the ice for warm-up. Now, at the other end of the rink, the Rangers did hold a morning skate. Mika Zibanejad was between Chris Kreider and Blake Wheeler. Vincent Trocheck centering Artemi Panarin and Alexi Lafreniere. Nick Bonino between Will Cooley and Johnny Brodzinski. Barclay Goodrow between Jimmy Vesey and former Oiler Tyler Pitlick. Good to see him putting together a prolonged NHL career. Really good guy. And nice to see him getting another chance in New York City with the Rangers. On defense for the Rangers, Ryan Lindgren with Adam Fox, Keandre Miller with Jacob Trouba, Eric Gustafsson with Braden Schneider. Gustafsson, of course, an Oilers draft pick as well. Out for the Rangers tonight, Capo Caco, IR lower body, Philip Hedl, IR upper body, Zach Jones expected to be a healthy scratch. When it comes to the goalies for tonight, your starters will be 25-year-old Stuart Skinner, 11-9-1, 304 goals against average, 898 save percentage in 22 games this season. Lifetime versus the Rangers, Skinner 0-1, 3.0 GAA, 906 save percentage in the lone appearance versus the Bradway Blue Shirts. At the other end of the rink, 37-year-old Jonathan Quick. He has had a renaissance this season. My goodness. 9-0-1. 9-0-1 Jonathan Quick's record is. 209 goals against average. 926 save percentage in 11 games. We will talk to Vince Mogliano and ask him why that is. Why is Jonathan Quick performing the way that he is so far this season? Achieving the numbers that he's put up? Vince will let us know. Quick versus the Oilers, pretty darn good as well. 25-11-6 record, 213 goals against average, 922 save percentage with 4 shutouts in 42 games against Edmonton over the course of his career. So Quick and Skinner are your starting goalies. Tonight, any lineup changes from last night that the Oilers might have, we will update you in a little bit when the teams hit the ice for warm-up at MSG. Question of the night one more time. If you could give the Oilers one gift this Christmas, what would it be? One. Not two. Not one thing with like 3 extra bonus gifts that you don't count. Just one. Trev says he would give Draisaitl better 5-on-5 scoring. Am I getting that right?
Yeah, better 5-on-5 scoring for Leon and just pretty well the whole team.
Okay. And I would give Connor Brown a spark, a.k.a. kick in the pants that gets him going this season. What would you give the Oilers if you could give them one gift? Let us know your thoughts. I haven't seen anything else in the nasty chat. Let's go into the inbox. 780-218-9999. Jocelyn chimes in and says, enough room on the cap to get a goalie. Yep, fair point. Another text says, top pairing D-man. I think a lot of people would appreciate that as well. This one from Chris says, if I could get the Oilers a present for Christmas, it's a deal with the Kraken to bring one of 2 former Oilers back. I would assume Larson and probably Eberle, although Eberle's getting a little older. But there are a bunch of former Oilers. Not sure, right? Not sure, Chris. I'm kidding. I tease. Brad from Crossfield says, I would heal Carey Price and give him to the Oilers. Well, that would be pretty good. Steak Bite Trevor. What do you got? A winger that can consistently play on the top 6. Thank you, Steak Bite Trevor. And YouTube Trev likes that response. Another text from Dom says, I was just at Ellerslie Sobeys. They're down to 3 4-packs left. Like, I think every location got 10 flats. That's incredible. Dom, thank you for the update. Those things are going to be gone by the end of the day. I guarantee it. Wow. Absolutely insane. Loomis says, go get Fabro. All right, I see some people saying that there's already an update to the lineup. I will get to that. But first, let's hear from Vince Mogliano from USA Today. Had a chance to catch up with him a little bit earlier, right before we fired up the show, and Vince had just enough time to hop on with us. Here he is from USA Today, Vince Mogliano on the Rangers beat. All right, joined now by Vince Mogliano from USA Today, covering the New York Rangers as we get you set for the Oilers and the Rangers from MSG before the Oil head into their mini Christmas break. Vince, let's talk about these Rangers, and this team has been cruising along quite nicely in the 23-24 season. Winners of 3 in a row. MSG is a tough place for visiting opponents. What's been clicking for this team so far this season?
That's a pretty loaded question, Tom. There's been a lot of things going right for them. I think it starts with the new coaching staff. I really do think that this team has responded to pretty much everything that Peter Laviolette has done since he got here. And he brought in, I think, a pretty dynamic staff as well. Some guys that are really targeted to help the Rangers in some specific areas. I think from a systematic standpoint, they just feel much more connected this year, much more structured and detailed this year. I think the system that they were running under Gerard Gallant was a little more simplistic, and now I think there's a little more nuance to it. You see the different versions of forecheck that the Rangers run. You see sometimes the way that they make things tough on teams coming through the neutral zone with that 1-3-1 trap that Peter Laviolette likes to use. And offensively, I think that they've been a more attacking style, and they've been able to generate a little bit more. The power play has been good all season, but the 5-on-5 offense has started to pick things up recently as well. But for me, it really starts with the structure and the defense. I think the Rangers last year, really the last couple of years, even though they were winning quite a bit, a lot of that was on the back of their goaltending. Mm-hmm. But this year, the goalies have not had to work as hard. If you look at the type of scoring chances that the Rangers are allowing, it's much fewer high danger chances, much fewer shots on goal. So it just seems like they are overall just kind of buying into this system that Peter Laviolette has implemented. He really has tried to get them to become a harder working team. We know that they have some high-level talent and some really high-level skill guys, but I think he's wanted to make them a team that's going to make the opponents work a little harder for everything that they get. And again, they're doing that in a lot of different ways. They're blocking more shots this year. They're playing a bit more physically. They just seem to have a lot of things going right for them. The penalty kill has been really good. So you add all that up with some of the high-level talent that they have. Artemi Panarin, I think, deserves to be in the Hart Trophy conversation right now. Vincent Trocheck's an underrated guy that's having a really good season for them. The goaltending has been solid, but, Igor's had some little dips here, but he hasn't needed to be as great as he had been for them in previous seasons because I think the team in front of him is playing much better.
Vince, a couple of things coming out of that. You talk about a 1-3-1 system. All of a sudden, I'm going, oh, man, we're talking about like the LA Kings and Todd McClellan, which the Oilers have seen the last two playoffs. Edmonton got by LA in those playoff series. But, man, that was like a tough slog for the Oilers, and it's kind of boring hockey. But has it been boring hockey entertainment-wise for fans of the Rangers? And does all that talent that the Rangers have kind of offset the less stylistic, less sexy 1-3-1, in your opinion?
Well, I don't think it's been boring for Rangers fans because they love to watch wins, and the Rangers have been getting a lot of those. But I will say that the team seems to me much more well-equipped to play those low-scoring, grind-it-out, you call it a slog kind of a game. I mean, that's what it was in Boston over the weekend. The Rangers and the Bruins have been the two best teams in the Eastern Conference since the start of the season. They've both been really consistent. Mm-hmm. And that game was like a heavyweight fight. There weren't a whole lot of high-quality chances each way. Like, you talked to the players after the game, and they were talking about, it was tight out there. There wasn't a lot of open ice. It was a hard-checking, really solid defensive game. But the Rangers, I think in the past, didn't do so well in that kind of environment. But now they are. They were able to hang in there, tough, stay patient. I think in the past, the Rangers had this tendency, especially some of their high-skill guys, in those tight-checking type of games, they would maybe push a little too much for offense, start making some risky plays, some of those cross-ice passes, that east-west kind of stuff, where they lead to turnovers that then lead to odd-man rushes for the opposition. The Rangers, I think, have done a much better job of cutting down on those kind of mistakes this year and being able to win those low-scoring, tight games. Now, they've had games where they've opened things up. They've had some games where they've put up some pretty crooked numbers, so they can play that style when they need to. But they're a little more versatile this year, and I think they're more comfortable in those low-scoring, tight games. They've won quite a few of them. Third-period results for the Rangers have been really good. They I believe, have at least 9 comeback wins this season, and they've had a lot of games where they've gone into the third period either tied or trailing. And it seems like much more often than not, they're finding ways to win those games.
Vince Mogliano joining us now, Rangers reporter for USA Today, as we get you set for the Oil and the Rangers. And Vince, you kind of talked about Shesterkin maybe not being a Superman-like, but on the flip side, you've got an aging Jonathan Quick, who I thought was a bit of a surprise winding up in New York. All of a sudden, he's 9-0-1. And we're getting close to the end of the calendar year. 209 goals against average, 926 save percentage. We're going to see him tonight against an Oilers team and franchise that he's basically dominated throughout his career. What's been the key to Quick's success? Is it kind of him kind of showing everybody, you think I'm done? Oh, yeah, let me show you kind of thing?
Yeah, I think that's part of it, although you won't get him to say that. He has very much been humble about the way that he's playing and keeping his head down and sort of focused on the task at hand, the whole one game at a time cliche kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. But I do think that there is a chip on his shoulder, and this was a good reset for him. Last year was definitely the worst season of his career if you look at the numbers. But he told me a few weeks ago that he really felt like the last 4 years in LA did not go the way that he wanted them to go. So I think there were legitimate questions about how much did he have left when he came to New York. I know I was wondering. I know a lot of fans were wondering. And in the preseason, he looked a little shaky. But since the season has started, he has been really, really steady for the Rangers. And I know he's given a lot of credit to the Rangers goaltending coach, Benoit Allaire, who is probably most famous for the work that he did with Henrik Lundqvist, who obviously turned into a Hall of Famer. But there's a long history of success for Allaire here in New York. If you look at some of the backups that the Rangers had during the Lundqvist era, there were guys that had struggled in other places or weren't considered very good prospects, and they became solid goaltenders here. Guys like Cam Talbot, guys like Alex Georgiev, and now Quick is the next guy that it seems like Allaire's been able to work some of his magic on. And Quick talked about Allaire kind of simplifying things for him and getting him back to the basics and getting him to think less and play more. And he seems to be playing freely. He's definitely been good. I mean, if you look at the numbers, he's been better than Igor in most categories so far this season. And you mentioned the record. The Rangers always seem to win when they have him in net. And obviously they're feeling very confident with him in net because they're throwing him out there again against a really talented Edmonton team tonight. Now, the career numbers are good. I think in 42 appearances in his career against the Oilers, he's got a .922 save percentage against them. So obviously the numbers backed up the decision. But I think it speaks to the level of confidence the Rangers have in him right now. We thought he was going to be a guy who played sparingly, maybe got 20 to 25 starts. But I think he's played his way into getting a little bit more than that. Igor's still clearly the number one guy here, but I think Quick is earning more ice time.
Man, he's having a great season, and he, in the 15 years I've covered the Oilers, he absolutely has owned them at times. Vince, you talked about another wrinkle going into this game in your article that you wrote, and that's Chris Noblock. Obviously, coaching in Hartford before the Oilers tapped him on the shoulder and said, "We want you up here." What did you find talking to some of his former players that spent time with him in the AHL, and what did you learn about the Oilers coach from his time in the Rangers organization?
Well, I got to deal with Noblock a decent amount of time. He actually, his first season in Hartford was my first season on the Rangers beat. And I would always make a point at least once a season of driving up to Connecticut and going to visit with that team and checking in on the prospects and sitting down with Chris for a little while. So
nice.
I definitely got the sense early on that this guy has a very even-keeled demeanor, never seems to get too high or low, definitely not much of a yeller or a really old-school disciplinarian, kind of a new-school guy. I always got the sense that he worked really hard behind the scenes to develop relationships with players, and that's what I've heard from players over the years. And then the last couple of days, talking to some of his former players who are now on the Rangers, that I think is what comes through the most, is he's considered a really good communicator. And even, I'll give you an example, Johnny Brodzinski, who's playing with the Rangers right now, but has spent the previous 3 seasons mostly playing for Hartford and has been the captain there. Johnny told me that even since Noblock took the job with Edmonton, he still either talked to him on the phone or exchanged text messages with him about 5 or 6 times. He said he had a couple games where he went without a point recently, and then he got a point in Toronto the other night. And when he got back to his locker and checked his phone, he had a text from Noblock saying, "Hey, good job getting back on the score sheet. Keep it going." So even these guys, that now that he's in Edmonton and he's got his hands full and he's learning a new environment and learning a new team, he is still, it means a lot to him, it sounds like, to maintain relationships with the guys that he coached. And, talking to a rookie like Will Cooley, who's on the Rangers now, he gives Noblock a lot of credit for the development that he had last season and spending extra time with him. It sounds like he was demanding in a way that wouldn't be calling you out in front of the team, but would take you aside, do one-on-one video sessions, have one-on-one conversations, and really work with guys and build trust that way. And he would be very straightforward and honest about his expectations, but he didn't, I think, feel the need to embarrass guys in front of the whole group or yell very much. It sounds like it was done in a much more hands-on, private way. And I think players really appreciate that, especially the generation of players who are coming up now. And so that seems to be his biggest strength just from talking to players. Good communicator, a guy who is very honest and straightforward with you about his expectations and took a lot of feedback. Brodzinski was telling me the other day that he would call in the leadership group often and say, "Hey, what do you think about this that we're doing? Do you think I should change anything?" And there were times, whether it was a systematic thing or a way that he was approaching a certain situation, where he would accept the feedback from the players and then make the changes based on what the players were telling him. So I think it just, the main thing that I took away from getting to know him and hearing from these players is that this is a guy who communicates really well.
So far, so good in Edmonton with Noblock, and really cool to see the connections, obviously, with the Rangers organization. Hey, Vince, appreciate the time today, man. Enjoy the game tonight, and Merry Christmas to you and your family.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Merry Christmas to you as well.
That is Vince Mogliano from USA Today covering the New York Rangers. Great to catch up with Vince. Had not spoken with him since the Oilers and Rangers connected and played each other last season. Vince joined us on the pre-game show oh man, I don't even remember what month the Oilers, was it early in the season? Remember there was that game where the Oilers had that crazy comeback, or was that 2 seasons? January, Trev says. I knew you would remember, but good to have Vince back on and appreciate him taking some time to chat with us today. He was on his way to MSG. So I did mention, and I saw some nasty chat there saying that, hey, there is an update on the lineup via Oilers TV's Tony Brard. And if you didn't catch it, if you're driving somewhere and you want to know and you're listening to the show, well, what's going on, Tom? Yes, indeed, Sam Gagner will not play tonight. He is a little bit banged up. Chris Noblock says it's a short-term thing, so maybe it has something to do with that high stick he took from Vinny Desharnais yesterday. And Connor Brown will draw back into action. If Connor Brown, I'm pointing at the universe, take my gift idea for the question of the night, the spark to Connor Brown. Give it to him tonight. Zap. Go. Do it. Make it happen. Because the question of the night, if you're just tuning in or didn't catch it earlier, if you could give the Oilers one gift this Christmas, what would it be? I said, give Connor Brown that kick in the pants, the little zip to get going, because he's back in tonight for Sam Gagner, who's banged up, short-term injury, says Chris Noblock. Has to do, obviously, with that high stick he took. YouTube Trev, you want to remind folks what you said you would give to the Oilers as one gift for Christmas this year?
A little bit more consistent in 5-on-5 scoring.
There you go.
Mainly Leon Draisaitl. I'd like to see his 5-on-5 play increase offensively. That would be nice.
You liked that goal he scored last night, though.
Oh, yeah, that was sick.
That was a beautiful backhand. It was a beautiful backhand. T. Willison in the Nasty chat says, howdy, fellow Nasties. Good evening to all. Penner's Pancakes says, how is LA below 500 at home and 13 1-on-1 on the road? That is ridiculous. Yes, it is. Hey, Willison, you're in Illinois. All right. Penner's Pancakes also adds, Quick has to crack sooner. And then Loomis has been talking about Dante Fabro. And then what else do we got here? Ooh, Ray to the T with a 5-1 Rangers prediction. That's harsh. Right to the T. Ouch. Don't do that to Oil Country. Jasmine texts in via our inbox, 780-218-9999. Jasmine got the over-under right yesterday. She said, hammer the over on the 6.5. And what did I say to you when they got to 7 goals last night? Jasmine got it.
Oh, well, yeah, that's what you said. Yeah.
And Jasmine also likes this color combo. I'm trying this, this different color. I like it.
Yeah,
it's
it looks,
more casual.
you're looking sharp.
Thank you. Yesterday I was very casual, and I was like, you know what? It's the last one before Christmas, so I'll bust out the blazer with a different type of shirt. So, Jasmine, thank you. Appreciate it. Always appreciate it. All right, let's go inside the Rangers locker room. We will hear from Chris Noblock. He did speak not long ago, so we're going to get that audio and video for you right away. YouTube Trev is keeping tabs on that, and he'll have it ready to go for you shortly. But we still do have some Rangers audio and visuals to get to, and we're going to start with head coach Peter Laviolette.
You had a chance to look at Edmonton last night, obviously they played. Do you learn anything when they played the night before? How do you use that to your advantage? The fact that
our guys, they look at they look at previous games, they look at last night's game, they look at our game that we played against them, and then you make decisions from there. They're obviously playing really well right now. McDavid back in the lineup from the time that we played them, but dangerous. Scored a lot of goals last night. It seemed to control things a little bit. And numbers game, they were pretty good. Scoreboard, they were pretty good. Zone 1, they were pretty good. So we're going to have to be sharp defensively.
When you're defending one of the elite players, whether it's him or Matthews or whatever, are there different things you do for different guys, or are there same basic principles for all those elite level guys that you do?
I think it's the same basic principles just inside of our system, and the realization that you're playing against a real good player. I think some teams change some things a little bit when they maybe on a penalty kill. If somebody's got a shot that stands over on the flank, you might lean out that way more and see if you can't just deter that. But typically that leaves something else open too. So we just go about our business and try to defend the opposition. And inside of the opposition, I think you talk about certain players and what they bring to the table, and things that you can do maybe to be a little bit better defensively, but not necessarily major shifts in the game and what we're doing.
You had mentioned yesterday one of the things you liked best about the team is the way you've been able to turn it. You were able to turn it around against, say, Nashville.
Yep. Yeah.
So, what qualities does the team have that they do that? Are they receptive to coaching? Are they good at self-evaluating?
I think it's so they are receptive. I do think it's a self-awareness. I think when you played well and you know you played a good game, there's a standard or there's a bar that you've kind of set for yourself, and then sometimes you're under the bar and you may win or lose, and then there's some times where you're not even close to the bar. And some of those games, I don't think we were very close to the bar. And self-awareness, or presented to be self-aware on what we need to do better or why it wasn't successful, but I do think that there has to be a receptive audience to that as well.
Do you sit down with every line and every pair before each game to go over?
We do, yeah. Not sort of answer. Yes, post game. So post game, which is pregame. So it's in between the two. So yes, on a lot of days not every game, but a lot of games we do sit down and go over stuff, the good stuff, the stuff that could be a little bit better, stuff that I feel like is systematic or something's reoccurring. We'll show it in front of the entire team to try and get better at that one particular thing that we're talking about.
But you don't necessarily meet with each line?
We do. We do.
You do?
Yeah, we do.
So you do both?
Yeah, we do both. Yeah. So yesterday was, we got in front of the team and showed a few things, but we have been breaking it down and meeting with the lines or meeting with the D pairs and kind of going more specific to their game, yeah.
In this group, there's a lot of talented players that you get to watch every single day. I know when you're coaching a game, you're in the heat of battle, it might not be easy to step out of that, but when you coach against a player like a Connor McDavid with, probably the best talent in the world, is there ever a moment in the game where you just kind of get blown away and are like, wow, that was just really impressive, something you don't see all the time?
I think that the players do, a lot of players, we have our own, and we just left a couple in Toronto that are pretty dynamic, and so tonight, there's a few players out here that are really dynamic, and I'm not sure I'm going to answer this correct or if I even understand the question, but I don't sit on the bench and marvel at it. I'm usually, if something happened where you're warranting a marvel, I'm probably warranting something different or feeling something different than your admiration is probably not the same as my feelings at that exact moment. I don't know if I answered that right or not.
No, that's kind of what I was getting at.
Yeah.
If something's that impressive,
yeah.
obviously if it doesn't.
Do I sit there on the bench and go, wow? No, I don't sit there. I say another word. It's not wow. Yeah.
Wanted to check in on Phil and Capo. Anything
They're,
different?
they're skating on their own. Capo is skating. They're skating on their own, and they're improving. I understand it's been a slow process, especially with Phil, but getting better.
The next step for Phil, obviously, I would think, would be getting out with the team instead of skating on his own. I mean, is that the next thing you're kind of waiting on here?
I think that there's when it comes to getting a player, Capo, Phil, anybody, Foxy, whatever, there's a progression to what it is. That doesn't necessarily mean that tomorrow the next progression is skating with us. So there's progressions inside of that. And so we're working on those progressions.
How long has Capo been skating? Just today or?
Been a week.
A few days. Okay. All right.
I think he's been out there maybe 3 or 4 times.
All right, there is Rangers head coach Peter Laviolette doing a bit of a update on some injured players. Capo Kakko not ready to go, will not play tonight. Same with Philip Hedl. So 2 good players that will not be in the lineup for a Rangers team that is off to a fantastic start this year, 22-7-1 thus far. Edmonton, of course, 14-15-1 this season. We will not see Sam Gagner tonight, and we will see Connor Brown. Gagner a little bit nicked up. There was an update from head coach Chris Noblock, and that's who we're going to hear from next. Let's go to Oilers bench boss Chris Noblock as he gets set to face his former franchise and a team that he briefly, during the COVID time, filled in behind the bench, and that is the New York Rangers.
A standout performance yesterday. Ryan McLeod, when he's playing his best hockey, is it more north-south as opposed to east-west for him?
Most guys are. It's keeping the game simple and very direct, but I think a lot of things, obviously he was skating really well, and I think that's a big part of his hockey game when he's playing well. But the amount of battles and the turnovers he created just with his speed and being tenacious, and creating turnovers on the forecheck. I thought that part of his game was really good. And yes, he did get the 2 goals, but I don't know, there's so much more to his game.
It's one thing to be fast, it's another thing to play fast. As his head coach, how do you encourage him to play a little faster?
Well, a lot of that is just not holding the puck too long. Usually when you hold the puck, you're slowing down the game, and you want to be fast. Well, nothing moves faster than the puck, and if you're transporting everything through, carrying it, that slows the game down. You want to use your teammates and give and goes. And, I thought overall, our team game was pretty good, and obviously he was part of that.
The Rangers, go ahead.
Sam Gagner took a stick late in the third period, and Derek Ryan took a hard shot late in the period. Is there a chance that they're both going to be available tonight, or?
Yeah, no, Derek was just winded. Fortunately, he's all right. I thought he played a really key part of our comeback last night, moving him to the center. Sam, unfortunately, will not be playing. It'll be short term, and it won't be playing tonight.
So Brown's your only other extra forward, so Connor's back in there then?
Yeah, Connor Brown will be in playing right wing on that fourth line with Hammy.
See what 8 years of post-secondary education gets you, that sort of deductive ability. So just a thought on what this is going to be like for you as a guy that was in this organization with the Rangers. Glenn Sather gave the Oilers permission to interview and hire you. Some key formative years from a coaching perspective. You're coaching against a couple of players you developed, Cooley and Schneider. What's it going to be like for you?
Yeah, no, it'll be pretty. It'll be fun tonight. Just being with the organization, Rangers, for so many years. I enjoyed it. They treated me really well. A lot of respect for the players that they have here and the management team that they have here. Very fortunate that they gave me the opportunity to come here with the Oilers. A lot of teams wouldn't have allowed that. A lot of respect for the Rangers organization. Now, as for the game, just watching some of those players that I have a close relationship with, seeing them develop, seeing them have successful careers in the NHL, it'll be neat. But it'll be really best for us to get 2 points tonight and go out on this road trip on a high note.
What aspects from last night would you like to see roll over into tonight?
In the offensive zone, I thought we were really direct. I liked how we got the puck to the net, especially from the defenseman, and we benefited by crushing the net. Just 2 goals that come to mind, and was the Hopkins goal in the first period, and McDavid, the third goal that tied it up. Just both shots, I believe they were Eki, who got those pucks to the net, and we just outnumbered them at the net. A really quick, direct, not fancy play, and you see our top line, maybe the top line in the NHL right now, scoring 2 goals just off of simple, direct plays. And, I like that part of it. And overall, I liked how all 4 lines played pretty well, checking, moving their feet, and I think if we're successful, we have to be skating fast.
Just ask one question. There's always great interest in lines, line combinations, line juggling. What's kind of your thinking pattern? Yesterday you made some moves that they worked. Do you consider yourself patient, or depends on the score? Just kind of your mindset when it comes to doing that kind of stuff.
No, it's, sometimes you look back after a game and you're wondering why you switched to something. Just let them work it out. Other times you're like, geez, I should have did something earlier because that didn't work. I never know the right answer. I like to give the guys the ability to work things out. Yesterday I just felt, just lines in the middle six definitely weren't working. I shouldn't say that. McLeod's line was doing really well, but yeah, just trying to jumpstart some guys, and hopefully it works.
You've coached in this building in relief a few times. Just what was it like for you to come in here finally as an official head coach now?
Yeah, a little bit different now. There's a little bit more pressure when you're the head coach. Before, it was almost like a fantasy camp where you're just taking over head coaching responsibilities. Yeah, no, it'll be neat coming back to MSG. Beautiful building, passionate fans, and you know, being in charge of the Edmonton Oilers as a head coach here. You know, I probably don't have the words for it right now. Maybe after the game I will, but you know, I'm looking forward to it.
Could you just speak to your experience coaching Will Cooley and just what you learned about him as a person and a player?
Yeah, no, I had Will for a couple times. Once, you know, he was 18, just through the COVID year, just briefly. You could tell that he was a good prospect, had a bright future. He went back to junior, came back to us, and had, in my opinion, an outstanding season. Just a lot of responsibilities on the power play, penalty kill, 5-on-5, and led our team in goal scoring for sure, maybe points, and but his all-around game was there. You know, playing physical and contributing offensively. So it's nice to see him finding a spot with the Rangers and obviously having part of their success.
Yeah, I don't know how much you've watched of him lately, but just what have you made of the way his game is translated to the NHL?
I have not watched him much since I believe it was November 13th or whatever the day it was that I came here to Edmonton. Before I did watch a lot of the Rangers games, and you know, I think nice to see him contributing offensively. Just a lot of things that you know, the average fan maybe doesn't see and appreciate. Really good on the walls, getting pucks out, and doesn't make very many mistakes.
All right, there is Oilers head coach Chris Noblock. We heard him confirm, yes, no Sam Gagner tonight, short-term injury, and we will see Connor Brown back in action, and he did mention that Brown will be on the fourth line with James Hamblin, and assuming that on that fourth line, Adam Ernie doesn't get bumped up, even though he scored that nice goal yesterday. So it should probably be Hamblin, Ernie, and Connor Brown. The top line probably not being touched. Let's not kid ourselves. McDavid, Nugent Hopkins, and Hyman. And then we'll just see during warm-up if McLeod is on Draisaitl's line with Vogel, or if, well, actually, they could put Janmark at center with Kane and Ryan if they wanted to. But I don't think they're going to. Matt Kassian will be joining us shortly. Hit us up in the inbox, 780-218-9999. And I said earlier on the show that 6 o'clocker lager, it's flying like crazy, obviously off the shelves at Sobeys and Safeway liquor stores. Thank you again. Fantastic. And now it is on tap at Mr. Mike's Northwest. It's also on tap at the Shamrock Curling Club. And now it's going to be on tap right away at Potts Bar and Grill in Fort Sask. They have 3 kegs, it looks like. And the handle for the spout looks cool with our logo on it. And they just need to clear out a line and chill the kegs, and it will be ready to go at Potts Bar and Grill in Fort Sask. I think Matt Kassian's good to go. Trev, you think he's good to go? Yeah, he's giving the thumbs up. He's good to go. Let's bring Cass on there. He was not feeling well, under the weather, did grind through the pregame show yesterday. Gager stepped in formidably while you were resting up. Cass, how are you doing? Give us a health check right now. Are you all right?
I'm hanging in there. I probably slept since we last talked for about 15 hours.
Wow.
At this point now. So
wow, Cass.
I'm getting there. Yeah, it was
hibernate.
Like I think hibernate. Like I napped before we did the pregame show, and then I fell asleep for a good healthy part of the game, and then I fell asleep right after the game and slept till morning, and then was up for a little bit to help with the kids, then fell asleep again, and then fell asleep again in the afternoon. So I've been sleeping like crazy. So it is what it is. You know, sometimes it's just that's life with too many kids. They just,
it happens.
Yeah,
it
happens. But we're good. We're here, Tom, and big win yesterday, which is awesome. stick to it kind of win, which is good. Kind of it was almost felt like the kind of win you need to get out of a mini slump, like the one where it's like not everything goes your way, but you continue just to do things the right way, and it just seems to work for you, and you have a good little chunk. So it was ended up being a good win today, and now a formidable opponent against the New York Rangers.
Formidable indeed, Cass. Let's get into Game Changers now, brought to you as always by Damon Bunting, RE/MAX Elite. Damon Bunting, consistent top producing realtor in Greater Edmonton and among RE/MAX realtors. He and his team would love to help you find that right home or make the move from your current home. He's community-driven. He understands what it takes to make a difference in our city. Check him out, DamonBunting.com. Visit his Instagram at Damon Bunting Real Estate. I think today's the last day of his gift of giving on his Instagram. So if you want to get in on that, you go check out Damon Bunting on Insta. All right, Cass, I do have a question of the night that I want to get to you and to our listeners. I want to start with that, and then we'll get into your bullet points for Game Changers. But the question of the night is this, and I put it out there to our listeners and viewers who might have been tuning in the last few minutes when I rattled off the question of the night earlier in the show. But if you could give the Oilers one gift, Cass, just one, this Christmas, what would it be?
Now, are we making it a realistic gift, or just it could be anything?
Totally up to you.
Because if I could give them anything, it'd be cap space. But we know that's not happening. So
Right.
I'm going to say health. I'm going to say health for your big boys. The McDavid and Draisaitl, stay healthy. That to me will be the big one.
That's important. I like that. Simple, to the point, and a good one. All right, Cass, let's get into it. Number one tonight on Game Changers, it's alive.
Yes, Igor Shesterkin. It struggled this year mightily, actually, for a healthy chunk of the season. A little bit of a roller coaster ride for him. For as good as the New York Rangers have been, he has kind of been just okay and just average up until a couple of days ago or a week ago, where he has all of a sudden started to wake up his game. So you for the Edmonton Oilers are going up against a goalie here now that is a Vezina caliber goalie when he's playing well. Hasn't played well for most of the season, but you're catching him now at a time when he is starting to feel it. And boy, Tommy, when he feels it, he absolutely feels it. Is a fantastic goalie when he's playing well. And if you're the Edmonton Oilers, you got to look at this and say, well, we're not really necessarily catching this guy at the right time, but hey, we potted 6 yesterday. You know, we're feeling okay. We're generating a lot of offense. Let's try to put some by him. But Shesterkin has just been playing some dynamite hockey the last really week and a half. 2 weeks is finally pulled out of his slump, and he's alive and kicking against the Edmonton Oilers.
Cass, what if I said to you that Jonathan Quick's career is alive because he's getting the nod against the Oilers tonight?
Oh, I actually didn't even see that.
I got you, big guy. I got you.
Me. Oh, geez.
I got you. No, I got your back.
I thought for sure it was Shesterkin. Well, I mean, it's the same thing. Actually, if we look at his
hasn't lost in regulation this season.
I was going to say he is undefeated thus far this year, and Shesterkin has every single loss. I think it's just 7 of them.
Yep.
For the New York Rangers. So, yeah, listen, Jonathan Quick is at the tail end of his career. He's not not what he once was, but he still finds ways to win and still finds ways to make saves. And he's the type of goalie that I don't think you're getting quite we'll call it the unbelievable saves like you used to, like the how did he make that saves like you used to, but he's found a way to settle in to himself as an older goalie physically and with how he needs to play and what he needs to do. So hey, listen, the same theory applies here. So now, okay, so if I'm looking at this and saying, okay, Shesterkin's not playing, well, yeah, he's been playing better. He is responsible for all 7 of the Rangers' loss, and Jonathan Quick hasn't lost in regulation.
Right.
So you have a guy on this end that is feeling good, that is feeling good, feels great about himself and his play, and is just ultimately confident. And his team's confident in him as well.
Totally. He did shut out the Oilers earlier this year, 3-0. So, you know what? Good on Jonathan Quick for doing it at his age, and especially when he was kind of a throwaway. I loved how the Columbus Blue Jackets gave him like a moment when the Rangers were in Columbus earlier this year, where they acknowledged him for being a former Blue Jacket. That was hilarious. But what's not funny is how well he's played, and he's kicking ass at 9-0-1 this season at 37 years of age. So his career is definitely alive right now. And Jonathan Quick goes toe-to-toe with Stuart Skinner tonight. Cast number 2, shift management. First back-to-back.
First back-to-back. Gotta watch those shift times. Gotta have smart changes. And this is going to be both from a coaching standpoint as well as a player standpoint. Now, you went from New Jersey to New York. It's not like you had a 6-hour flight and went through 3 time zones here. It's a pretty quick, pretty comfortable trip.
Yes.
However, from a body standpoint, this isn't something that the Oilers have to do all that often and haven't had to do all that often. So a little bit of a different look. And for the coaching staff as well, paying attention to energy levels, paying attention to shift lengths, making sure that you are taking opportunities to make changes when you need to make them is going to be important. It's going to be important. And you have a New York team that is one of the best teams in the league right now. And they are going to push, and they are going to press, and they are going to do everything they can to expose you in a back-to-back, as we have seen Edmonton, or we saw Edmonton do during that 8-game winning streak where they caught a couple teams on 3 and 4 or in back-to-back. So I think just an important feature of this game for the Edmonton Oilers is just that awareness. That awareness and making sure that you're not trying to squeeze that extra little bit out of shifts. And I look more at the McDavids and the Drysaddles of the world for that, even on the power play, because the New York Rangers have a fantastic power play. They also have first in the league. They also have a fantastic penalty kill, which is I think they're 4th in the league or 5th in the league. 4th. I think they're 4th. 4th in the league in the penalty kill. Yeah. So it's even when you have 5th. Okay. Yeah. Even when you have a power play, and we know how good the Oilers' first unit is, and we know how they like to stay out there for minute 50, minute 55, inching up to that 2-minute mark. I think a game like tonight, it's a little bit more important in the back-to-back to make sure that, let's say, the puck is cleared and it's a minute 30 down in the penalty or in your power play. Make sure you get off the ice.
Yep.
Make sure you get off the ice, because it's just the Rangers aren't a group you want to get caught out there against. You're in a back-to-back. The legs towards the end of the game may feel a little bit heavier for the guys that play a lot of minutes. So let's just be smart about it, smart about your changes, and the coaches really have to help with that as well.
Cass, I know you were under the weather and you were hibernating to get well enough to be a dad, first of all, and then secondly to hop on to cover this game. But the Oilers' power play, 0 for 8 in its last 3 games, and I think it didn't score on its last power play against Tampa, so it might be on an 0 for 9 stretch. I think that is the number right now. Too cute again at times, passing up opportunities. This 3-game stretch where it's gone 0 for 2, 0 for 4, 0 for 2 last night, concerning or not, in your opinion?
Long-term, not concerning. And it's short-term concerning when you need to win hockey games. The power play is going to be fine. It will be fine. Now, have they got too cute? Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Too many of those just only trying, and we talked about that the other night after the game against the Islanders, only trying to hit Draisaitl backdoor over and over and over and over and over again, like not using your other options, trying to just force things that aren't there, not shooting when there was a clear opportunity to shoot in a grade A opportunity. We've seen that happen. But overall, I'm not. Their power play is too good, and they're too talented. So I'm not concerned about it. Like, it will turn. It's just a matter of them realizing that they need to actually give some different looks, which it will, and they will. Yeah. I'm not worried.
All right, it is Game Changers with our game analyst Matt Kassian, brought to you as always by Damon Bunting Remax Elite. Number 1, it's alive. Number 2, shift management. Number 3, odd man rushes. Cass.
Yeah, it didn't overly burn them against the New Jersey Devils. Maybe a little bit of what they gave up, but they gave up a lot of odd man rushes. I think a total of 8 odd man rushes, which is probably about 4 or 5 too many for a hockey game.
And Jersey's a good rush team.
They're a good rush team.
Some of that, yeah.
Yeah, there's going to be some of that, but New York's the same thing. Like they are as well. They will jump as well, and they have defensemen that'll jump in as well. Just look at the offensive prowess of Adam Fox, who's a absolutely spectacular all-star defenseman and who just lights teams up in the offensive zone. Like, he is deadly, and he jumps into the rush. He will lead the rush at times. He will skate the puck and just be involved in everything you're doing there. So those sort outs, which when we look at all the times the Oilers have really had challenges this year, the amount of grade A chances off of like 3-on-2s and the number of 2-on-1s that they gave up with cross crease passes was just astronomical.
Yes.
There was just so many of them. And it's like a defining difference between games they typically win and games they do not win is how much are they actually giving up in those situations. And again, you back-to-back games here, maybe a little bit mentally tired, maybe just, happy that you won the game yesterday. It would be, I think, easy to fall into patterns of giving up those rush chances against. And it's really important that either you don't, or when you do, that you are sorting things out. And same thing, anything cross ice, the second that you allow cross ice passes in your own zone, it creates issues because the goalie has to move all the way across and everyone has to adjust. So making sure you force everything to the outside when there are those rushes, and let's just not have those backdoor plays.
Cass, I'm going to throw some stats at you as we get set for this game. And the Rangers versus the Pacific Division this year, a perfect 7-0. The Oilers versus the Metro Division, 5-4 after that win yesterday against the Devils. Edmonton 5-9 on the road this season. The Rangers 10-3 at home. And Edmonton has won 2 of its last 3 visits to MSG. And you kind of alluded to the easier travel, let's call it, when you're in the New York area and you hit all 3 teams on a road trip, which is generally the case, especially for Western teams. Last night they're in Newark, which is literally a tunnel ride under the river, a bus ride under the river, back to the hotel in Manhattan. Long Island is, I think, about 45 minutes away if you just take a bus instead of hopping on a train or anything like that. The dynamic of playing in these games, going into MSG, the difference, in your opinion, from playing at Prudential Center one night and then Madison Square Garden the next night, like even covering those games and the vibe around the cities. I know they're literally across the river from one another, but you get to Newark and you're like, oh, is this safe? And then you're at MSG the next night and you're like, what a town. Oh my God. Like, is that a celebrity? Is that a celebrity? Where? Oh my goodness. And you got the Empire State Building lit up and all that. As a player, Cass, how do you manage that? What was it like for you? How do you describe the experiences and the differences that I outlined between the 2 cities on back-to-back nights?
Yeah, well, you're a little less scared to go outside of your hotel.
Yeah, man, and it's true. Like it's you're just
ooh,
like, where am I?
Yeah, you ride there's no walking to the rink when you're playing the New Jersey Devils. It's like, no, you're cabinet or you're going on the bus.
Yes.
Where at part of the fun when you're playing at MSG is that you want to walk there, right? Like you want that experience to feel it and to smell, even though that smell's not necessarily
some of that smell is rotten.
Some of that smells a little
City,
rotten,
yeah.
but you get a little bit of that smell walking there. And I mean, hey, it's more fun when you have a day before, like to get to just kind of walk around, especially if you're not there that often. And I'm not a big city guy. Like like a 3-day trip there for me, that's good. Like that's enough.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's good for me. But just like playing in Montreal, which was my favorite place to play, there's just a little bit more of a buzz, and maybe that's just your perception as a player, or even Tommy, like your perception as someone in the media, where it's like we're New York, we're Madison Square Garden.
It's crazy.
But anytime you play the place where there's just a little more history, it just means a little bit more.
Yeah.
Right. Like for all we, sometimes as a society like to forget history and don't talk about history. I think it is safe and agreeable to say that, doing things like, let's say you have an old family farm and you have like a family reunion. Well, doing it at the family farm and your reunion there at where, if you had people that came over from Ukraine or wherever, doing it at that location would mean a lot more than just going to Denny's and doing it there. Right. Like the location matters.
Yes.
And so it just adds a little bit of extra something, a little bit of extra flavor to it. Right. I mean, New York, I don't necessarily think it's the center of the universe, but New York likes to think it's the center of the universe. And, probably because it is huge. And as you said, there's different people around that are famous for different things. There's a lot of buildings. There's a lot of history. And it's just a cool experience.
It is so cool. It is. And they pumped $1 billion into it 8 years ago. It's unbelievable. They built like a skywalk and the press box is amazing.
It was just getting those upgrades on my way out.
Yeah. It was. It is phenomenal, and it's in the heart. And you know what? They've been talking about potentially tearing it down because the value of the land is so much, and they need to do, I think, a renovation on is it Union Station right underneath? Something like that.
Yeah, I don't know.
There's something going on where it might be gone, and they've been dealing with the Rangers and James Dolan being like, we need you guys to move, and the Knicks obviously too, but they're digging in their heels and saying, "Nah, we ain't moving." And I'll tell you what, I'm glad that they're not. It is such a neat place to see a game, to experience hockey, and a great hockey market too.
Yep.
Cass, it really is. They get it. And it's so cool. So it should be a neat experience tonight. And if you were still playing and you were on a back-to-back where you were in New Jersey one night, but then back in your hotel in Manhattan the next night, or that same night, because you're getting ready to play the Rangers the next night, would you find a way to get out, or no? Would you just go straight to bed and you're playing it right and not doing anything?
It depends if I knew I was playing or not.
Well, that changes things. Yeah.
No. If I knew I was going to be scratched, which was fairly typical, I probably wouldn't do anything crazy, but I'd probably go run around a little bit. Run around a little bit. I mean, if you're in early enough. Yeah. If you're in early enough.
Yeah. Oh man, it is such an awesome place. Should be a good game. The Oilers have won 2 of their last 3 at MSG. However, the Rangers have been excellent on home ice this season and just really good overall. Cass, are we going to see a run-and-gun game? Because Jasmine had the under for tonight. Yesterday, she called it on the over at 6.5. Yeah. What are you thinking tonight?
Well, I had the over 2 on 2 guys and a goalie. I think I said it was going to be 7-4 Oilers that first game. And then I think the second one I said 7-5 for this one. I think we see some goals scored today as well. I mean, I think we see some goals scored today, which of course means that there might not be. So I'm saying 5-3 Edmonton with an empty netter. That's my call for it.
I like it. 15-15-1 going into the Christmas break. I think that sounds nicer than 14-16-1, doesn't it?
It does. Tom, it's crazy how much that swing makes a difference.
Yep.
It's huge.
We'll see if they can get the job done. Cass, fantastic work as always, my friend. Glad to see and hear you doing better. Get some more rest, and we'll see you on the post-game show.
Absolutely. Hey, well, I will do my best. I shouldn't fall asleep for this one. Like I said, I slept enough now, so I'm good to go. We're good.
I love it, pal. Okay, we'll catch up with you in a bit.
All right, sounds good.
There is our game analyst, Matt Kassian, helping us get set for the Oilers and the Rangers tonight down at MSG. Such a cool building. If you ever get a chance, go check out a game there. Basketball, hockey preferably. The basketball games there are really sweet too. I went into 1 or 2 Knicks games, and it was pretty damn neat. You get all the movie stars. Is it Spike Jones or Spike Lee? Spike Lee. Spike Jones is the quirky movie director. Spike Lee is the one that did the commercials with Michael Jordan and stuff.
They both sound familiar.
They're both producers.
I'm having a hard time putting a face.
Yeah. Anyway, it's such a cool place. And movie stars always at games, whether it's hockey or basketball. It's awesome. So we'll see if the Oilers can pick up a win at MSG. Tough building to win at. Maybe they hand Jonathan Quick his first regulation loss of the season. He is starting for the Rangers tonight. Quick 9-0-1 with a 209 goals against average, 926 save percentage in 11 games this season. He did shut out the Oilers earlier this year, 3-0 back at Rogers Place on October 26th. Quick's numbers versus Edmonton, really good. 25-11-6, 213 goals against average, 922 save percentage with 4 shutouts in the 42 appearances versus the Oil over the course of his prolonged career. And then you've got the young guy, Stuart Skinner, 11-9-1 on the season. 304 goals against average, 898 save percentage in 22 games this season. Skinner versus the Rangers, just one appearance, 0-1 mark, 3.0 goals against average, 906 save percentage. We do know that Gagne is out. Connor Brown is in. Gagne a little bit nicked up, so he won't play today. Short-term injuries, says Chris Noblock. And we'll see Connor Brown on a line with Hamblin and Ernie. The McDavid, Nugent-Hopkins, Hyman line stays the same, and we'll just see if Draisaitl does have Ryan McLeod or Evander Kane flanking him on the left side. Of course, you could have Derek Ryan play center or Matthias Janmark play center. And I haven't seen an update anywhere on X, a.k.a. Twitter. So if you've seen anything, let me know. But I haven't seen anything. Nothing on Daily Faceoff. Nothing from Oilers media that's on the road. But if I missed it, please let me know. We'll pass that along your way. Megabird, as I was just alluding to, no, we don't know the official lines. We do know two of them, though, because Noblock did say that Brown will play with Hamblin and Ernie. And then you've got the McDavid line, which you shouldn't touch. So it'll be those two middle lines, and I don't think that Ben Gleason's getting in. We do know Skinner starts, so we're deducing to a certain extent here. YouTube, Trev, anything you got?
Regarding the lines?
This game?
No, you know what? I do have a question for you. I was curious about this. So Dylan Holloway on the trip with the boys, but he's not scheduled to make a return till after the new year. Why is he on this trip? Is it just a bonding thing? Is it his choice, or are they wanting?
It's a sign he's getting close, and you. This is teams generally do this. You bring guys who are getting closer, so that they start to feel and get back into it a little bit. Get them into meetings so they're starting to get on the same page as everyone. You're not leaving them out. So like the fact that he's on this trip with them, I think is a good sign. And then they said that they're going to start incorporating him, or at least Chris Noblock said they're going to start incorporating him after the Christmas break into full-blown practices when they're in California, and then they'll reassess him from there. But the fact that he's traveling with them is a sign that he is getting pretty close, and then that also gets him up to speed on the off-ice stuff, and then they'll work with him. He'll do extra stuff in the skates. Maybe he goes out a little bit early. Like, the teams are always given the option of ice. So, like today, for example, the Oilers didn't skate. They rested. Chris Noblock held his availability at, I think it was 4:15 our time. So they gave the team the rest. But there are guys, because they do get the ice, that go. And it's usually a guy like Holloway that'll work with strength and conditioning coaches. He'll go on the ice with David Pelche, something like that, and they'll start working on some things to start getting him closer and closer. So yeah, that's kind of why they do that.
Yeah, well, now you know. I was super curious by that. So
yeah,
thank you for that.
It's a good sign. It's a good sign. It's indicating that he is getting closer and closer to his return, but he's just not there yet. And I think they're sticking with that timeline. But if I doubt he plays in the 3 games after Christmas before the New Year. But I think when they're at home in January, maybe early on, he gets into his first game. Like maybe as early, if I were to guess, like the 2nd of January against Philly, potentially. But if they don't feel he's getting close enough and needs a couple more days, they have 3 days between games before they take on the Sens at home on the 6th to wrap up that brief homestand. So, like early in the new year is my best guess, but the fact that he's traveling with them is a really good sign. There you go.
There you go. Now you know.
Now you know.
I was super curious.
All right, couple texts to get to before we wrap things up. Big Uke says, I've got a flat of 6 o'clockers and a bag of 2 hoots and 2 Christmas parties. The only thing that makes tonight better is a fast-paced, hard-fought game tonight. Merry Christmas, and Goilers says, Big Uke, Merry Christmas, pal. Enjoy those tasty, tasty, tasty libations. And then Vance Van Vandervan chimes in, says, my prediction, Quick doesn't take the loss because he will get pulled in the first, and the Rangers' other goalie will technically get the loss. And that other goalie is Igor Shesterkin. Let's go to the nasty chat really quickly. T. Willison says, I'm wearing my Lucky Victory shirt to offset Calvin Pickard's inverted oil drop on his helmet. Oh, I saw someone saying they think it was bad luck. I don't know if it's bad luck. He got the win yesterday. He's got a 2-2 record. Mitchie says, Merry Christmas, T-Biscuit and YouTube Trev and all the Nasty Club members. Solidarity, hear, hear. Thank you, Mitchie. And then Calvin says, hoping Brown comes out with a lot of gem this game. And that will do it. What is Penner's Pancake saying there? How is 4V not in the Nasty Chat? Who are we missing in there?
Vance,
Vance Van Vandervan.
Yeah.
I don't know. Vance Van Vandervan's hilarious, though.
Yeah, there's a lot of really good names.
Yeah.
I like Do Fish Pea. Penner's Pancakes is kind of, that's a good one. But
Jenna,
Vance,
I'm not saying the last
yeah.
name.
But it just rolls off the tongue. Ever since I first heard Vance Van Vandervan.
I've met Vance Van Vandervan.
He's
awesome. A funny guy. He's a
Yeah,
really funny guy.
That's my favorite name.
Yeah, it's a good one. I've met Penner's Pancake stopped by last week. Great guy. And actually, a lot of nasties I've had the chance to meet over the last little while. It's been great. Now that we're doing more on-location stuff, it's been awesome. So, yeah, look forward to that in the new year as well. We've got some good things planned, and I'm sure I'm going to be able to meet. Actually, we will meet more of the nasties out there, so it should be good. All right, Norm, you're going to get the last word here. Norm chimes in via the Nasty Chat, says, another real team tonight. Will McLeod have a positive impact? No pressure, but he will have to get points for this team to win. Can't put it all on Ernie. Norm, well said. And then Coyote Steve gets in there too, says, only way Oilers can beat Rangers is to have a good start. Well, Coyote Steve, they had a good one yesterday. A repeat of that would be lovely. Let's see if they can get the job done against a really good New York Rangers club. Skinner versus Quick in goal. We'll see if it's McLeod on Draisaitl's left side or if Kane gets the look up there again. We know the top line stays intact, and we know that Connor Brown returns to action in for Sam Gagner. Short-term injury for Gagner. Brown with Hamblin and Ernie. We'll see what happens in that middle six. Huge thank you to Vince Mogliano covering the Rangers for USA Today for stopping by. Great interview with him. He's fantastic. Big thank you to everyone who tuned in via the TuneIn app or our audio stream if you're listening in your car. And to those who watched on the Nasty or chimed in via the Nasty Chat watching on our YouTube channel, you know we appreciate you. Thank you guys so much. For YouTube Trev and Matty Kassian, I'm Tom Gazzola saying enjoy the Oilers versus the Rangers. We'll catch you on the post-game show. Ciao for now.